Hi, you guys. Welcome back. My name is Carrie Penny. I am the Happy Crafty Homemaker, and today is show and tell number 258. This will be going up on February 20th. Again, we're filming on Tuesday because the rest of my week is booked out. I was able to carve today off to do some filming, especially front-facing filming. Uh, it's been it's been just a little bit hectic and crazy. We have the HVAC check coming tomorrow just to do the annual clean it, check it, make sure everything's running okay. We have an appointment on Wednesday that is out of town, or no, Monday that is out of town. The weekend is already starting to get booked up with little nittly things we need to get done around the house. The honey-do list is a growing, and there are a lot of things where it's a two-person job, so it takes both of us to do them. So it's going to be a very busy week for the rest of this week. Hopefully I'll have at least an hour, hour and a half each day to sit down and work on stuff because I'd really like to get some more progress made on some of these things that I have. I have so many projects going right now and I'm really enjoying them, but a lot of them are also kind of, I need time and space to work on them. It's not, my normal tote around can take with me wherever I'm going kind of project. So anyway, last week we did have a early Valentine's Day out Thursday. We saw Frankie Valli in concert. Really enjoyed ourselves. It was a blast. The concert was excellent. We had pretty good seats. We weren't center. Normally I prefer to sit center stage, just to the side of center on an aisle, but we did have one of the wings on the balcony, so we had really good seats. We could hear everything perfectly. We were able to enjoy the atmosphere. It wasn't nearly as full as some of the other concerts we've been to, but it was definitely a very engaged crowd. So we had a ton of fun. But yeah, that was my Valentine's Day gift. A friend of mine had seen Frankie Valli in Asheville last year, so I was like, could we go, please? Troy was like, yes, we can go. It's okay. I also was not able to wear my shawl. Otherwise, I would have taken a ton of pictures of me wearing my shawl. However, the temperature was about 10 degrees colder than it was supposed to be when we were leaving, and I didn't know we were at a venue I had never been to before. So I did not know how long getting into the venue was going to be, and standing outside in the cold, I did not want to wear my little dress and shawl. I really needed to wear a coat and something that covered my legs. So I did not get to wear my new shawl, unfortunately, but it's okay. We'll have plenty of opportunities to wear it. I wear tons of those colors anyway. And like I've said before, a lot of my wardrobe is black. So it matches a lot of stuff that I own already. Other than that, really, we haven't had like anything major we're doing, nothing like mega exciting. We will talk a little bit about media at the end of the video and what I've been watching and listening to. But yeah, so anyway, let's crack on with what is in my basket of goodness. This will actually be a fairly short video this week, just because there is not, a whole lot to really share. We'll be talking about projects y'all have seen before, one FO, one soon to be cast on, which I'm very excited about, and some just bits and bobs in here. So first off, project Our Friend's Cold Feet. I did get a little bit further on these socks. These were not the primary socks that I was working on this week. So this is using Mary Maxim Sweet Feet. I think I said Silly Feet last week, but it's Sweet Feet in the color Lime. And the heel, toe, and cuff of this is Mary Maxim Simply Sock in Slate Shade. I did write it down. So we've got the marker moved up for this week. This is in, all my socks are in T Doddle's mini maker bags. I will leave her Etsy shop link down below, as well as tag her YouTube channel. I love Christie's bags. These are so perfect for me carrying socks around. I've had better luck doing this, putting my arm through the drawstring and knitting from my bag, than I have using this. Unfortunately, I've tried 2 or 3 different of these now, of these pendulum wristers that are, like the wool genie. And I find my stuff still gets hung spinning. I'm not free spinning. A lot of my stuff will just draw up the cake and then ends up wrapped around this. So I have not had very good luck with these so far. But it is what it is. It's okay. I don't mind. I really do like using my mini maker bags. Plus I get to choose the bag that kind of makes me feel like it goes with the socks better. So, or the person who's receiving the socks. So it's kind of like decorating my projects. Next up, we have January's self-striping socks. Now, I did get a lot of progress, I feel, on these. I have started the ribbing. I actually started that this morning. And last week we were down here. And now we are up here. So we've got, not like a huge leg on this sock. I do need to try these on again and see how I feel about them once I get them cast off. I still think these might be too wide for me, but that's fine. I'll just mark them as, an extra wide 8, 8.5, or a slightly narrow, negative ease 9, depending on how they fit. But this is using some deep stash. This is Joann's Sensations Bamboo U, and this is like pink multi, I think. This has, been in my stash. I think it's been over 10 years, is what I said. I'll have to look at I do have the label in here. Manufacturing date was 07/2010. So yeah, it's been in my stash for a very long time. I probably bought it either 2010, 2011. So we're over 10 years in my stash. Time to get it used. And that is in my little pirate map maker bag, mini maker bag. Let's see. My last WIP here that is cast on and I'm working on it is my brick sweater. I do kind of have to be careful. I don't want to pull stitches here. I have tons of yarn bundled and pinned to the sweater. So I did get the sleeves cast on or attached or started. I've worked to my first decrease on the sleeve now. On both sides. So I am working these in tandem. So as I try this on, I am ensuring that I am getting perfectly even sleeves, that I'm not, missing a step to get the perfect taper. I'm still not sure if I'm going to go ahead and take this down my wrist or leave it at a bracelet length. I still think I'd prefer this bracelet length, but we'll see. It'll all depend on how the tapering works out, truthfully. But yeah, I did pin my yarns to the underarm because I'm still having to alternate the skeins every other row to prevent pulling. You can see where we were going to start pulling right here. So I did want to go ahead and bring in the other just to break it up a little bit. With this yarn, it's not been a perfect thing. Even in the body, there were times where I had to add a third ball of yarn in and cut one out because they would start stacking based on the decreasing and stuff that I did throughout the body. That is using Lion Brand Woolies, hand painted in lavender honey, I believe. I had a bunch of it, so I still have plenty. Yes, lavender honey. So once again, this has been in my stash for a while. I don't think this has a manufacturing date on it. I got this when we were in Charlotte, I believe. So it's, probably been in my stash 5 years now. I've used a lot of the yarns that I got at that time. that specific group of yarns. For some reason, I went through those pretty quickly. But I do have a lot of that color. So it's one of the reasons why I chose it to be my sweater. I really wanted a sweater out of that. But that's part of my Project UFO, as well as February's make along. That will be my fourth project, as well as I am still working on the lemon peel blanket. I can put a picture here of just like how much I got done. I think it's about 2 inches, 3 inches. So it's not a whole lot that I got done over the last couple days. Unfortunately, Pippin has decided that that is where he wants to sleep at night. So it's like while I'm making dinner, he'll commandeer that basket, and then I can't work on that for the rest of the night. And even last night, Banner hadn't been sleeping in my lap while we ate dinner and for about 3 nights. And last night, right as I was getting ready to start working on that, he came flying across the living room and plopped down in my lap and immediately like stretched out and went to sleep. So it is a little bit harder to work on that. It is a very long blanket. It is over 6 feet long. So it's a lot to maneuver in my lap with a cat in my lap, and it's very hard to maneuver to even get it out of the basket when the other cat has decided that that's the perfect napping bed. So it's been a lot harder to work on that lemon peel blanket than I thought it was going to be this month, but it is what it is. So talking about Project UFO and UFOs and languishing WIPs that I'm working on for my make along this February, I did finish my Atomic Hermione socks. So this is using bright violet, I think, stroll for the heel, toe, and cuff. And the primary sock yarn here in the sock is Hypnotic Yarns Atomic Turquoise. This has been in my stash for a couple of years. I knew what I wanted to do with it, as far as I knew I wanted them to be socks or shawl. Unfortunately, because of the texture of the yarn and the pattern, I cannot in video get the texture to show up great. So in the picture that I take to put up on Ravelry, I will try to get a better picture of the texture so you can better see it. But I mean, you can tell the difference between the stockinette and the alternated pattern here, alternated seed stitch pattern. But these are the Hermione Everyday Socks. This is the second pair I've made now. I took my cuff to a little over 2 inches, or took my leg a little over 2 inches, and I did 25 rows for the cuff. I use Earth Tone Girls slip stitch heel, and I used a rounded toe for these. I do prefer the rounded toes for my socks. But yeah, these will be for me. For me. Also in the like finished object zone here, I do have a couple of squares to share with you guys. So this is a 10-row corner to corner square using loops and thread, Impeccable. Then we have, I think this is a Karen 1 pound with the Impeccable. This is a 10 round granny square. And then we have another, what looks like Jane from Firefly's hat. And this is using, I don't know what this yarn is. And then these two are Impeccable yarns. So I have not done any of the baby hats for the month of February yet, nor have I cranked anything for the month of February, which I really, really need to do, because now I'm behind like 4 months worth of cranking for what I had wanted to do, and making 5 hat and scarf sets every month and 5 baby hats every month. So I do need to work with my scraps and get some baby hats made. But yeah, I did at least get 3 squares done. So that is done. These are actually going to stay up here. So the last thing I want to talk to you guys, I did place an order for some beads. If you guys want to cycle back to my ALC Yarnable unboxing, the most recent one, I will leave it in the iCard here. I told you guys I really, really, really loved this month's Yarnable. And there we go. That vanilla cream base with this slightly mauve-y pink tone here was just absolutely stunning. I was head over heels for it. Then I just happened to be putzing around online like you do, and I came across this pattern. And this is what it looks like. It's a shawl pattern. And I might have just fallen a little bit in love with it. So what I needed to do was buy some seed beads, because the edging on this, while you do not have to have beads, I did want to put the beads on there. So I have a couple of yarns that I have considered for shawls, and if I want to add beads, these are common enough colors for me to use. This is a silver. This is kind of like a ice tone blue and a pink, but these are the ones that I purchased to go with the yarn to make this shawl. I wanted something a little bit deeper, but not so dark that it was going to, distract. So this is a fairly close color, especially in person. The color matches ridiculous. Of course, the lighting in here, of course, is going to create glare across the beads, but the color match is super close on these to the yarn. And in that lacy bit is just a seed bead going across the bottom. So I was able to find the quantity that I needed at a reasonable price. I ordered these from Potomac Beads, and they also sent me a little free gift of some little turquoise colored round beads. It says Ron Duo free gift. And since I have now ordered seed beads from them, these are the Miyuki seed beads, Duracoat galvanized, light pewter, eggplant, seafoam, lined alabaster, and these are size 6 seed beads. So if you're into beading, that's what they are. But yeah, they were very reasonably priced. I think my order ended up hitting the free shipping, and I really like these. I like the fact that the hole on these is definitely going to be large enough to get my crochet hook through to put the beads, because this isn't a put it on your yarn and work them in. This is a loop by loop option. So I know as I'm doing that, I'm going to want to like punch myself in the face for making the decision to do another individually placed bead project. I swear I'd never do it again, but it's been 12 years since my last one, so maybe it won't be quite so bad this time. But yeah, that's everything that I have for you guys. I do have some pet tax at the end of this. I forgot to share the kittens last week, so we will have some pictures and things like that at the end of the video. So I love you guys. I hope you are having a wonderful, fantastic day. Come back on Saturday. Oh, no, I forgot media. I forgot to share with you guys what I've been watching and listening to. So I did finally finish Anne of Cleves by Alison Weir. I enjoyed it. She takes a lot of liberties as far as the fictionalization, because there are huge holes in history that we don't know about a lot of these historic figures. This was the one that so far, I've done Catherine of Aragon, I've done Anne Boleyn, I did Jane Seymour, and now Anna of Cleve is the latest one that I've listened to. This one took the most liberties in a dramatic way with what we know to be historically accurate for Anna and her life. So it was still a good book. It was an enjoyable listen. If you're super big into historical accuracy, though, this one might frustrate you quite a bit. I have been listening since I finished that one. I did start listening to Peter Law's Frighteners. Now, I've shared Peter Law's YouTube channel here before, and I will leave him tagged down below here. Frighteners is not one of his works of fiction. It's kind of an exploration of, I would say, based on where I am. I'm a couple chapters in. I would say it's an exploration of where memento mori is still present in modern the modern realm. Our perceptions of and separation, modern separation of things that we see in horror, in the horror genre across the board. They are still representative of the same things that we saw in the Renaissance and the Middle Ages, where people were kind of more closely attuned to the natural life cycle. Trying to be careful with my phrasing for some of this, and also, we have a natural curiosity when it comes to the morbid and the things that we can't talk about. And Peter Laws has a very unique perspective on that. It's very different than like Stephen King's writing about, what scares us. This is more of the exploration of why we want to be scared, or what is represented in the different genres of horror in modern curiosity, and how that is expressed, and why we do tend to see certain things differently. So anyway, it's a very fascinating book. I really enjoy his YouTube channel, where it's more talking about, spooky stories and experiences, and also exploring some places that have been known to be haunted as well. I've shared his channel here before, actually. I believe in October was the last time I shared his channel, but we do keep up with his channel. We really both enjoy it here. So I did decide to go ahead and get Frighteners on audiobook. The only thing that I think is a negative, and this is a very minor thing, the narrator is brilliant. He's perfectly fine, but Peter Laws did not narrate this book. So having been so used to Peter Laws' narration style, having a different narrator and a vocal style narrating this book was a little bit of a brain shift for me. Uh it's not a distracting thing where I'm not enjoying it still. I'm still very much enjoying it. But it was when I first started the audiobook, was like, would have liked to just a little bit more if Peter Laws had narrated his own book, but really enjoying it. And I do definitely recommend it if you are somebody who really does enjoy horror, the morbid, the curiosity aspect to modern society, and trying to understand, like, historically, how we are still reflecting the same things as many people are familiar with, like, Victorian memento mori, but memento mori is a much older Catholic tradition as well. So, yeah. Anyway, there's that. um, the other thing that we did watch is we did watch the final episodes of Cobra Kai. So, I I really enjoyed the way it ended. I would have done a couple of things differently in how the story ended. I would have come to the same conclusion, just a different path. Um, Now that the show is complete, I do have to say there are a couple things that they really succeeded, and I would really like to see showrunners do if they're going to bring back something like this that has nostalgia feels for a lot of people. They treat the source material seriously instead of making fun of the source material, which a lot of these sequels tend to do. They tend to poke fun at it, or they make it something entirely different, which disenfranchises the original franchise lovers. Very, very long way to say that. But separating your original audience base wholly from the new thing It's very difficult, and that's how you get a lot of shows that end up failing and a lot of movies that end up failing because you're totally abandoning your original fan base. So, one thing Cobra Kai really did is they treated the source material with the Karate Kid movies very seriously and respected the fan base of the original movies. The other thing that they did is they told a mature story. They allowed the characters to succeed and fail constantly. And this is the adults and the teenagers. The ebb and flow of it were very natural and very mature. And it showed a lot of slow growth, maturity, and growth in the characters overall. I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm not going to say anything about the plot lines, but I will say if you've been watching the show, it is a very satisfying overall ending. And, I said from the beginning, my biggest issue with Cobra Kai was Daniel needs to get over himself. He needs a little humility and um, stop getting in his own way. And I do have to say, I don't think that was entirely reached, but what was reached was incredibly satisfying. So that tension that I had the entire time wanting to just throttle Daniel finally did ebb away at the end of this. But yeah, I really really wish more showrunners would use this model if they're going to create, I mean, showrunners and movie producers, if you are going to create sequel material like this, don't insult or diminish the original source material, because it just it's so icky. It's so frustrating when that happens and you're not building in the world, you're creating a completely different world. So if that's what you want to do, that's great. Create your own thing. Don't try to build on something pre-existing and then absolutely trash it. I mean, I don't know. That is kind of where I came down on it, but I really enjoyed it. You had some really great cheesy 80s moments that I really enjoyed. I mean, everybody needs a good montage moment. But overall, I have to say, I'm going to give the show, now that it's complete, an A. It was really good. It hit a lot of the fans things that the fans really wanted to see and hear. And it was a very satisfying show overall as far as the conclusion and falling action and everything else. You actually had resolution, which a lot of shows forget to put in. They just kind of, oh, main event done, no more. So you actually had good storytelling. It has been a very frustrating go at getting these episodes out to us, but if you wanted to watch the whole thing straight through, you won't be upset by it. You'll be completely satisfied by the end of the story. So, all right, that is all, truly, finally. And this ended up being a long video. I am very sorry. Pet tax, pictures, anything I forgot to put into videos last week. I love you guys. Take care of yourselves. Bye.